Ladies and gentlemen, imagine standing on the edge of a storm. Dark clouds gathering, the winds howling with an ominous warning. Now, what if I told you that God has shown me this storm is coming? A crash that will shake the very foundations of our lives, our communities, and our world. But here's the truth: this warning isn't meant to scare us. It's meant to prepare us. It's an invitation to wake up, to realign, and to rise stronger than ever before. If you're searching for hope in chaos, if you're longing for a purpose that withstands the test of time, then stay with me, because what's coming can be the catalyst for your greatest transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever felt that unsettling sense deep inside, when everything around you seems to be shifting, cracking, or unraveling? Like a storm quietly gathering strength on the horizon, whispering that change is coming. Big, unstoppable change. What if I told you that this feeling isn't just your imagination, but a divine warning, a clear signal from God Himself that a crisis looms just beyond what we can see? Think about it. We live in a world brimming with signs: economic instability, moral decay, social upheavals that often go unnoticed or dismissed as temporary setbacks. But what if those signs are actually alarms, ringing loudly in the spiritual realm, calling us to wake up and pay attention? Because the truth is, God doesn't send warnings without purpose. Every alert, every nudge in your spirit is designed to shake us from complacency and propel us into action, into resilience rooted in faith, into recognizing our divine worth, and embracing a success mindset that's anchored in eternal truths. You see, life's storms are inevitable. They test our resolve, challenge our stability, and reveal what we truly believe about ourselves and our Creator. But the question is, are we paying attention to these divine signals? Or are we ignoring them, hoping they'll just pass us by? Ignoring these signs can leave us unprepared, vulnerable to the chaos that's approaching. But recognizing them, understanding their significance, that's where transformation begins. It's about seeing beyond the surface, seeing the spiritual signals that God uses to get our attention, to guide us toward healing and renewal. This is not about fear. It's about divine wisdom. It's about awakening to the reality that God is always speaking through circumstances, through our conscience, through the people around us. And when we respond with faith and resilience, we're positioning ourselves not just to survive the coming storm, but to thrive beyond it. Because the real question isn't whether the chaos will come. It's whether we will listen, respond, and prepare. And that's a decision that begins with recognizing the signs that God is revealing right now. Have you ever wondered what happens when the very ground beneath our feet begins to tremble? When the values we once held sacred start to crumble silently, almost imperceptibly? It's easy to assume that the stability we enjoy is unbreakable, that our moral, spiritual, and societal foundations are solid and enduring. But what if I told you that these foundations are more fragile than we realize? That beneath the surface, cracks are forming, cracks that threaten to cause an inevitable collapse. It's a sobering thought, isn't it? That when integrity, faith, and commitment weaken, the entire structure of our lives, communities, and nations becomes vulnerable. We often look at the chaos on the outside, economic turmoil, political unrest, social division, and think, that's someone else's problem. But the truth is, the real collapse begins from within. When we ignore the warning signs, when we dismiss the erosion of core values or the decline of spiritual discipline, we are setting ourselves up for a crash that will expose everything we've tried to hide or deny. This isn't just about societal decline. It's about personal resilience, about recognizing that the health of your soul and your character directly impacts your ability to withstand storms. Because a weak moral or spiritual foundation doesn't just threaten the big picture. It threatens your self-worth, your peace, and your purpose. The more we ignore these signs, the more we delay the inevitable. But here's the hope. Awareness is the first step toward healing. When we begin to see the cracks, when we choose faith over fear and resilience over complacency, we start to rebuild on a stronger, more enduring footing. The collapse of foundations isn't just a warning of destruction. It's a wake-up call, a divine signal that we must examine what truly matters. Because in the midst of chaos, there's an opportunity to restore, to renew, and to realign with divine purpose. And recognizing these signs today is the first step toward creating a future rooted in lasting strength and unshakable faith. Have you ever felt that moment of uncertainty when everything around you seems to be unraveling? When chaos appears to be the new normal and stability feels like a distant memory? It's in those turbulent times that the true test of our character begins. But ask yourself, what if the secret to not just surviving, but thriving amidst the storm, lies in the unwavering power of faith and resilience? Could it be that these qualities are not just passive virtues, but active tools designed to carry us through the darkest nights? Imagine standing firm when the ground beneath you shifts, holding on to hope when the world seems to be collapsing all around. Resilience isn't simply about endurance. It's about cultivating a success mindset rooted in divine strength. An inner conviction that no matter how fierce the storm, your spirit remains unbreakable. Faith becomes your anchor, a guiding light that illuminates the path forward when everything else seems uncertain. It's about recognizing that even in the chaos, there's divine purpose, an opportunity for healing, renewal, and a fresh start. Think about the stories of those who faced overwhelming adversity and emerged stronger, not because their circumstances changed overnight, but because they refused to let fear and despair define them. Their resilience was fueled by faith, faith that a higher power is working behind the scenes to restore what's broken and to strengthen what remains. When your self-worth is rooted in divine truth, setbacks become lessons, and failures become stepping stones to success. In turbulent times, your greatest asset is not external security, but an unshakable belief in your divine potential. Resilience and faith empower us to rebuild what's been damaged, to heal what's been wounded, and to emerge even more committed to our purpose. Because the real victory isn't avoiding the storm. It's learning how to stand tall within it, trusting that beyond the chaos lies a divine plan waiting to be revealed, and recognizing this is what will truly propel us toward a future of unshakable hope and unstoppable resilience. Have you ever faced a moment so profound that it felt like everything you knew was crumbling around you? A time when the ground beneath your feet seemed to shake, and suddenly your life was turned upside down. It's natural to want to retreat, to see destruction as the end of the story. But what if I told you that every collapse is actually an invitation, an extraordinary opportunity to discover a deeper purpose and to realign your life with divine truth? Think about the most powerful transformations in history or within yourself. Those moments born out of chaos and despair that ultimately led to renewal. It's in these moments of crisis that we are given a choice to remain stuck in the rubble of what once was, or to rise with resilience, fueled by faith and a renewed sense of self-worth. Because true purpose isn't found in comfort or complacency. It's forged in the fires of adversity. When everything around us seems to be breaking apart, it's the divine whisper reminding us that destruction often makes space for new beginnings. Imagine standing at the crossroads of despair and hope, knowing that the pain you're experiencing is not the end, but a catalyst for healing and growth. Every failure, every loss, and every upheaval can become a stepping stone, an opportunity to recalibrate your success mindset and to rebuild on a foundation rooted in divine purpose. When you recognize that divine purpose is woven into the chaos, suddenly, setbacks transform into setups for a greater comeback. It's a divine design that even in the destruction, there is a blueprint for a stronger, more resilient life, one filled with hope, healing, and a renewed sense of direction. This is the moment to embrace your divine purpose, to see beyond the wreckage and discover that in the ashes of destruction lies the seed of extraordinary renewal, an invitation to turn crisis into the greatest opportunity for transformation and divine alignment. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to navigate life's storms with unwavering confidence, while others are caught off guard, overwhelmed by the slightest turbulence? What if the secret to standing firm amid chaos isn't just luck or circumstance, but a divine principle rooted in discipline and preparation? Could it be that these are not merely human virtues, but sacred tools given by God to shield us from devastation and position us for blessing beyond measure? Reflect for a moment on the importance of wise stewardship, how managing our resources, time, and talents with intentionality can serve as a spiritual safeguard. It's easy to overlook these principles in the business of life, yet they are woven into the very fabric of divine wisdom. Preparedness isn't just about planning for the worst. It's about aligning ourselves with God's purpose, cultivating a success mindset that honors divine timing and divine provision. When we develop discipline, whether in our habits, our faith walk, or our daily routines, we fortify ourselves against the unexpected, building resilience that sustains us through life's fiercest trials. Think about the stories of those who rose above adversity, not because they were immune to hardship, but because they embraced divine principles of discipline and preparation. Their resilience was rooted in a faith that trusted God's timing and a commitment to wise stewardship. These principles serve as a divine blueprint, equipping us to withstand storms, to heal from setbacks, and to step into future blessings with confidence. When we recognize that discipline and preparedness are divine responses, we begin to see every challenge as an opportunity to grow stronger, more resilient, and more aligned with God's purpose for our lives. In a world that often breeds complacency, embracing these divine principles transforms our approach to life's uncertainties, positioning us not just to survive, but to thrive, ready for whatever blessings the future holds. Have you ever felt that gnawing sense of fear creeping into your heart, whispering that you're not enough or that the future is too uncertain? What if I told you that fear, while natural, doesn't have to control your destiny? What if the divine invitation is to transform that fear into a catalyst for action? A powerful response rooted in obedience and proactive faith. Because it's in those moments of trembling vulnerability that we have a choice to retreat or to step forward, guided by divine wisdom and an unwavering belief in God's purpose for our lives. Imagine the incredible potential that lies within you when you refuse to let fear paralyze you. Instead, you lean into divine guidance, trusting that even in the chaos, God's plan is unfolding. When you respond with faith instead of doubt, you become an agent of hope, not only for yourself, but for those around you. Every act of obedience, no matter how small it seems, is a building block toward a future crafted by divine design. It's about seeing beyond the immediate challenge and recognizing the opportunity to build resilience, to heal wounds, and to develop a success mindset rooted in God's promises. Think about the stories of those who faced overwhelming odds yet chose to act in faith, transforming their fears into stepping stones for lasting change. Their courage was born out of a conviction that divine guidance is more powerful than any obstacle. When we embrace proactive faith, we become architects of a better future, living proof that faith in action can turn despair into hope and uncertainty into divine certainty. We are called not just to survive our fears, but to rise above them, becoming vessels of divine power, healing, and resilience. The question is, are you ready to respond with obedience and faith? To step into your divine purpose and become a beacon of hope in a world desperate for change? Because in doing so, you unlock the extraordinary potential that only divine guidance can activate.